Welcome to Hartford Infant School, Reception Class Workshop, September 2020. My name is Ray Lee. I am the head teacher. I will be taking you through some of these slides along with the reception team leader, Mrs. Jo Eagle. This reception class workshop replaces the normal workshop that we would do within school, but due to COVID-19, we are unable to invite you into school, so hopefully you can view this video at your leisure. Should you have any questions at the end, please don't hesitate to contact the school. We have 3 aims for this meeting. I won't read these out to you, but just give you a few minutes just to look through. Firstly, we'd like to say a big thank you to everyone. That's to your child, yourself as a parent and carer, and to all the teachers for making the transition from home or preschool through to school in these strange times so seamless. Your children are already settled in class. We hope that they are happy, and we hope that we have a long and fruitful partnership with you.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Eagle. I'm the reception team leader at Hartford Infant School, and I'm also the Class 1 teacher. In reception at Hartford, we follow our own early years curriculum. This is the same curriculum that your child will have been following in their preschool settings. It's different to the national curriculum which the rest of the school follows, and this tells us how to assess and teach your child. There are 4 overarching principles or beliefs in the curriculum which we follow to help us ensure that we can provide the best care and education for your children. A unique child recognises that all children develop at different rates and paces, so therefore we plan to meet the needs of every individual child so that they can be successful. In school, we have a brilliant special needs coordinator, Vicky McGregor. If your child has any additional needs, she's here to support us, your child, and you. Children learn to be strong and independent through positive relationships with us. This year has had to be very different in that we haven't been able to build these initially with the children through our nursery visits and the induction sessions in the usual way. We're looking forward to getting to know your children and you as parents over the coming weeks. When there is a strong partnership between parents and practitioners, we believe that children really flourish as they see the adults around them working as a team. It's essential that we work with you as the parent in your child's education. At Hartford, we provide an enabling environment through our indoor and outdoor classes. Your child will have access to quality open-ended resources to aid them in their learning with adult support alongside to ensure they're making progress. This year, all resources are used in line with our risk assessment. Our curriculum is play-based as we believe that this is the best medium for learning. The learning and developmental principle emphasises the importance of children becoming lifelong learners, and we do this at our school by teaching the children the characteristics of learning, which are the key skills such as problem solving, persevering, teamwork, involvement, aiming high and reflection, and these are linked to our Hartford Heroes.
These are our Hartford Heroes. There are 6 of them. They have been in Hartford Infant School for quite a long while now. We introduce the children to each one of them individually at the beginning of the autumn term in reception, and as they go through school they become more and more familiar with them, and we encourage the children when they are learning to try to aspire to be like them. Let me introduce you to them. First of all, we have, I'll just click on here, we have Reflective Rex. So Reflective Rex is our Hartford hero, and the characteristic of learning that he is emulating is to think about what you have learned and can you make it better. So that might mean that we go back and edit our work. Say for instance we were writing our name and we were writing it on the line, and actually our letters are floating above the line. Next time we write, we'll try to make sure the letters sit on the line. Or if we're colouring in and we go outside the lines, maybe next time we'll be like Reflective Rex, think about how we could make it better and colour inside the lines. The next Hartford hero here is Teamwork Tiger. So at Hartford Infant School we believe that children can learn better by collaborative learning. So that means we might have talk partners where 2 children might talk to each other and share their ideas and their thoughts. Sometimes we do small group work, and again we're trying to make the children work together cooperatively. Our third Hartford hero over here is Perseverance Parrots, and Perseverance Parrot does exactly what it says on the tin. We'll encourage the children to not give up, to persevere, We talk about perseverant parrots sitting on our shoulder, and we recognise that lots of us need to be like perseverance parrot, especially at the end of terms when we're getting tired, or if you've given a piece of writing, for instance, or an activity that we don't really want to do. So we try to be like perseverance parrots and keep going. Our fourth one is involved iguana. So what we're looking for is that the children are involved and engaged in their learning. And learning takes place within the school and all the time, obviously, even at lunchtime and playtimes. We don't want to see the children just sitting there doing nothing. We want to see the children talking to each other. We want to see the children involved in the activities that are shared with them. And we want to see them really engaged. I mean, one of the ways to see that a child is engaged is their tongue's hanging out, and when you call their name, they don't respond. So involved iguana is a really important characteristic of learning. So moving down across to number 5. Here is Aim High Hippo. One of our previous teachers spoke to the children about always reaching for the moon, and if we don't actually land on the moon, but we land among the stars, that's a good thing. So we try really, really hard to always do our best. And with the other Hartford Heroes like Reflective Rex, with Teamwork Tiger, Perseverance, being involved, then hopefully we can always aim high. We also have an Aim High Hippo stamp, and sometimes the class teacher will use that in their books. And last but not least, we have Problem Solver Snake. And Problem Solver Snake is one of our quieter Hartford Heroes, but just as equally important. So the children will every day be faced with different problems, and we really want to develop children's resilience. So we want them to be able to think, what do I do now to be able to solve this problem? So in an English or literacy session, the children might not be able to spell a word. So they would go to the phonics station within class, and they would get themselves a phonic mat or a common exception word mat, and that would help them to spell the word. Equally, if they were in a maths activity and they couldn't solve the problem, they might go to the maths area, and they might go and get some resources that could help them solve the problem. Problems arise up on the playground. What are they going to do then? Then they would hopefully use the conflict resolution script that we teach the children, whereby we ask them to try and solve their problems by talking to their friends or the person who's upset them. So all in all, we have 6 Hartford Heroes. They do help us in our learning and our everyday life. We will celebrate the Hartford Heroes with the children. So if we catch them being like Reflective Rex or Teamwork Tiger, then in our special assemblies that will start taking place soon for reception children, but equally in year 1 and year 2, the children will be nominated for a Hartford Hero by their class teacher and receive a certificate. And hopefully each year your child will bring home a certificate that celebrates one of these Hartford Heroes. And as soon as COVID-19 and the restrictions that are put in place on school can be lifted, we would definitely invite you in to come and see them receive their certificate.
The early years foundation stage curriculum that we follow in our classes comprises of the 7 areas of learning, which you can see here. There are 3 prime areas and 4 specific areas. The prime area of communication and language underpins all areas of the children's learning. We promote language through talk boxes, role play, and by listening, responding to stories, and through our learning environment. We have story shelves that are updated throughout the year that encourage children to engage in storytelling in their independent learning time. We also play lots of speaking and listening games to help children with their vocabulary development and their listening skills. We use Talk for Writing. This means that by the end of the year, your child will know several stories off by heart, including using actions and props. This helps the children when they're reading and writing. We will also be promoting key vocabulary through our working walls. At home, it's really important that you model to your child how to ask and answer questions, how to talk about what they can see, and how to explain what they understand. As a school, we use Makaton, which is a type of signing, to support children with communication difficulties. We're developing our oracy curriculum, which focuses on learning to talk and talking to learn. As part of this, we teach children sentence stems, which they can then use to answer questions in full sentences and to later write sentences independently. Physical development is integral to children's learning and well-being. And in reception, the children are active daily through planned activities and during their own child-initiated learning, as well as in our PE sessions outside. This year, Class 1 will need to wear their PE clothes to school every Monday, and Class 2 will need to wear their PE kits on a Wednesday. We play lots of games, engage children in activities as part of our finger gym provision, and these activities are designed to develop children's fine motor skills, strengthening the muscles in their arms and chests, help them to practice a really good pencil grip, so a pincer grip, and gaining control over the tendons in their hands. Once we feel the children are ready, we'll learn letters with an outstroke, and we follow a scheme called Think Right, which incorporates farmyard animals as a way of helping your child remember how to form the letters. When your child starts to write, we ask that you make sure you encourage them to hold their pencil correctly, and we will send home some examples of this pencil grip via tapestry. At home, we feel it's really important that you encourage your child to be as physically active as they can be, and this could be as easy as popping down to the park at the weekend or perhaps riding their scooter to school. We run Forest School here at Hartford. It encourages children to take chances, to explore risks, and to take the time to stop and reflect on their experiences, ask questions, and begin to make sense of their own thoughts and feelings when they're in the natural world. Children gain a really valuable lesson in healthy and active lifestyles through a child-led approach, developing holistically, physically, socially, emotionally, and intellectually in a safe and stimulating natural environment. Activities in our forest school may include den and shelter building, whittling using potato peelers, fires, exploring flora and fauna, natural collections, sawing wood to create badges, making mud characters and pictures using natural paints, as well as stories and team games. In order for this to be successful, children will need to have wellies left in school all week and preferably all year. Each class has a really lovely wellie rack to store them on, and we would also ask that during the colder months your children has woolen thick socks and perhaps a thermal base layer, a fleece layer and a waterproof winter coat, along with hat and gloves, as we do go out whatever the weather might be like. The final prime area of learning is personal, social and emotional development. We do lots on this area of learning in the first half term, really focusing on settling the children into school life, following routines, sharing during circle times and making friendships through games. At school, we have 7 golden rules.
The golden rules. The golden rules form part of our behaviour policy. Our behaviour policy can be found on the school website. There are 7 golden rules. They are introduced to the children in reception, and we talk about them on a daily basis. Sometimes our assemblies focus on a particular golden rule, and when children do make mistakes, which they will as they're learning, we will remind them of the golden rule that has been broken and how they can make it better. So let me share them with you. We focus on being gentle, kind and helpful, being honest, always working hard, looking after property, listening and having good manners. Now, when the children are spotted doing any of the golden rules, they are given a number. And as you can see, they are numbered on this slide from 1 through to 7. So for instance, if your child is really involved in their work and they're producing something amazing, then the class teacher or the teaching assistant will say, "Oh, that's super work. I really can see that you are working hard. Have a number 4 in a box." There's a certificate that you won't have seen yet that is in school with your child's name on it. And on that certificate, there are lots of boxes. And inside the boxes, the class teacher or the teaching assistant will write down the number that they have given the child. So the child that we're seeing working very hard will get a number 4 in the first box. If later on that day, they are caught by a midday supervisor being kind and helpful at lunchtime, then the supervisor would say to the child, "Thank you for being kind and helpful, have a number in the box." The child might say, "What number?" And the supervisor would say, "Well, that's a number 2. And again, the class teacher or the teaching assistants, once they're told, will put the number 2 into the child's certificate box, and slowly and steadily all those boxes will be filled up with numbers. And then once it's all full, we'll celebrate that in a little class assembly and the certificate will come home. So I wonder who's going to get their certificate first. How exciting.
The skill of reading is primarily taught through our daily phonics sessions. In these lessons, we'll be teaching children the letter sounds and the names, as well as how to blend them together in order to read words. We'll also be teaching them how to read some words by sight. We will be holding a phonics workshop similar to this one later in the autumn term, where we'll go through the teaching phonics in more detail. We will also have a focus text each half term, so this will be a story that we learn to read by heart, and we'll link it to lots of other learning opportunities for the children. For example, the tiger who came to tea. We'd work on being able to retell the story, as this is a huge part of our curriculum and really important when the children are learning to read and write. We'll be looking at stories in depth and exploring the language and words in stories too. From the 21st of September, we're planning to send your children home with a book on a Monday to share with you. And we're asking that this is kept at home during the week and then returned to school on a Friday, ready to be safely stored for 48 hours to then be used again the following Monday. At first, these books may be wordless, and we're hoping your children will enjoy retelling a story and discussing the pictures with you. When we start teaching phonics, your child will be sent home with a reading book for you to share with them. Initially, you will need to read this to your child. However, as your child begins to recognise more letter sounds and practice blending, they'll be able to start reading to you. During this daily is essential if you really want to help your children to read. Sadly, at the moment, we're not able to send reading cards home, but this may change over the course of the year, and we'll keep you informed. This is the early learning goal for reading. So this is the end of your expectation statement for reception children. So this is what we're working towards in terms of their reading. Writing is taught through phonics, but also through small group work. Once we feel the children are confident with their letter sounds, we'll help them to break words down, listening to the sounds they can hear, and then have a go at writing them. Our focus on oracy also really helps children with their writing too. We feel that if you are unable to use words to talk and speak in full sentences, then it will be really tricky to try and write words and sentences. Our whole school curriculum incorporates oracy, and in our setting, we aim to encourage effective questioning, active listening, and constructive peer discussions using sentence stems alongside Makaton. The goal for our children will be able to share their thoughts articulately, orally, and in later stages in written form as their writing develops. At the beginning of a new topic, text or maths unit, we always introduce specific new vocabulary, which is then modelled, discussed, displayed and used with the children. And we do this throughout the topic and across the year when we revisit to embed this with the children. We feel that learning to write will probably be one of the greatest challenges your child faces in reception. This is because writing itself is a tricky skill to master, but not only that, we live in a technological age where writing really is a dying art, but still an essential skill for life. At the beginning of the year, mark making is a really important skill that your children need to be working on. We would hope to be seeing the children picking up pens and pencils and drawing, scribbling, or attempting to form letters. If this is something your child is reluctant to do at the moment, we suggest maybe trying something different, such as painting or writing with chalks on the pavement outside. Here are some examples of the progression of children's writing across the reception year. So on the left, you can see some kind of emergent writing and mark making, and then you can see how that develops into the sound and letter correspondence as your children engage with the phonic teaching and learn other skills such as writing on the line and leaving a finger space between each separate word they write. This is an example of a piece of child's writing at the level expected at the end of their year with us in reception. This is an example of a piece of child's writing at the level expected at the end of their year with us in reception. Here are the end of year expectations for writing in reception. So this is what we're working towards across your children's time with us. Maths in reception is very hands-on and practical. The children will be introduced to and be able to independently use a wide range of resources in their play to support them as they develop and extend their awareness of numbers, shapes, space and measures. Number focuses on recognising, counting to and ordering numbers to 20 and then using these numbers in addition and subtraction problems. The majority of our maths, as I've said, is practical, so we use maths all the time in their foundation stage. Every morning we count the number of children having a hot dinner or packed lunch and compare the numbers. We also pay for our snack every day by counting out pennies. In order to be at the expected level at the end of the year, children need to be recognising numbers to 20, not just to 10. So they need to be able to double, halve and share, as well as add and subtract. Therefore, it's important that at home you make the most of everyday opportunities to help your child become a more confident mathematician. This can be as easy as doing things like counting the steps as you walk up the stairs, or looking at the door numbers as you walk home, or maybe playing a number game on the iPad, or sharing sweets between siblings. Every week we will share details of what we've been learning in maths and some of the vocabulary we've been using, and we'll share this via Tapestry, our online learning journal, which I'll talk more about later. We expect parents to look at the online learning journal and talk to your child using the vocabulary that we've shared. The strand of shape, space and measure includes shape, position, time, comparing measurements such as length, height and weight and capacity. And again, your child's ability to use language associated with measuring can be used in lots of everyday opportunities at home, such as baking cakes, maybe talking about shoe size in the shoe shop, playing with measuring jugs in the bath and things like that. Here are the end of year expectations for number. And these are the expectations for the shape, space and measure elements of maths. This area of learning focuses on children making sense of their world, and this forms foundations for later learning in science, geography and history. It supports the children's curiosity and encourages them to question how things work and why things happen, and it also covers technology. We encourage children to develop their thinking skills and curiosity as they explore our learning environment. This area of learning is very much focused on the children's interests. The children will be taught key art and design skills, which they can then choose how to use in their free learning time. They have access to lots of good quality open-ended resources, and this will encourage them to use their imagination as they create. We really love to see any lovely creations you may do at home, so please upload photos of these to Tapestry and then we can share them with the class. Assessment happens all year round in reception, as we are continuously checking where the children are in their learning, what they need to do next and how we can help them to get there. All assessment in reception is observation based and there are no tests at this age. At the end of the year, the class teachers will decide if your child is working at the standard expected for this age group by assessing them against the early learning goals, some of which we've shared with you in this workshop. Children will be judged as being emerging, expected or exceeding. At the beginning of the school year, we get to know your children and carry out an informal baseline of their learning. This is used to help us to track your child's achievements and supports us to plan engaging and relevant learning opportunities to enable every child to move their learning forward and make progress. All of the observations we make of your children will be documented on an online learning journal called Tapestry. Most settings have now moved to the online journals as they're much more interactive and make it easier for everybody to contribute. You will have received a Tapestry agreement in your induction packs that you must sign and return, and we're aware that lots of you have already, set up your accounts, which is fantastic. We have 100% take up since we started using Tapestry several years ago, and the parents really love it. Tapestry should be used for two-way communication, in that we expect to see photos and videos from home as well as class teachers and teaching assistants uploading observations from school. Sometimes children perform differently at home at school and we recognise that, and Tapestry is a really handy way of us being able to see what your child is capable of both at home and at school with us. Your children will be so busy and involved across the day, we aim to use Tapestry posts to give you a flavour of your child's learning with us. Some days we may upload more posts than others, but we really love to read your Tapestry posts and we'll often like and comment on these.
As you watch this video, your child has already started school and they will be on a part-time basis for the rest of this week. From the week of the 21st of September, your child should be in full-time. If you feel that your child is not ready for this, then please contact the school immediately and then we can make the necessary arrangements to support your child. Morning drop-offs will be very similar to the drop-offs that you have done this week during half days. So Drop-off will be on the upper front playground at 8:35. Mrs. Eagle and Miss Legg will come out. They'll have their bubble signs. The children need to line up socially distanced, and the class teachers will take them into the classrooms. If you are late, hopefully you will be able to just tag on at the end. If not, you will need to go through the office foyer. Please can I remind you that you will need a face mask on to go in, and just check before you open the door to see that there's nobody already in the foyer. Once you're in, you will need to give a valid reason for why your child is not in school at the right time. Please don't just say to us late. We do need to be able to put something on our records. If your child is poorly though, please phone the office or email us just to let us know why they're not in. If your child has sickness or diarrhea, then they should have 24 hours off from the last bout of sickness or diarrhea. If they are unfortunately having sickness and diarrhea, then they would need 48 hours off. Please make sure you contact the school every day that they are poorly so that we don't give you a call. If we don't hear anything, we will contact you. Thank you. Food. Whilst the children at Hartford Infant School in reception year 1 and year 2, they will be provided with free fruit and vegetables. They will be able to eat these at snack time. We ask that every child brings in their water bottle every day with just fresh water. Please don't put flavoured waters inside them. Your child is entitled to a universal infant free school meal. This doesn't cost you anything. You will need to sign up to School Grid. If you are unable to do this, please contact the school office and we will support you. If your child is having a school dinner and you haven't gone on to School Grid and logged that on, they will just be given a jacket potato. So if your child doesn't enjoy jacket potatoes, I suggest you get onto School Grid. You can book their lunches up to nearly a term in advance, I believe. There are different options each day, so have a look at the categories. There are red options, which are meat, and there's vegetarian and so forth. If your child does have an allergy, you will need to contact School Grid and the school office, and we will support you. Obviously, children can bring in their own packed lunch, and if they do, can you please make sure that it is healthy, not too much food, definitely no fizzy drinks or chocolate or sweets, and preferably can they open up their own containers and snack items that are inside the box. We will then send that home at the end of the day for you to clean and refill for the next day. Home time! The day will whiz through and your child will be ready to be collected at 3:05. Please come through the double gates and wait on the lower front playground. If your child is in class 1 with Mrs. Eagle, then socially distance yourself near to the white kitchen pod on the left-hand side. And if your child is in class 2 with Miss Legg, please socially distance yourself over to the right-hand side of the playground near the gazebo and where the front office is. Your child will then be released by the class teacher or a teaching assistant. Now, if it's not you that is collecting or the usual people that you have agreed that can collect your child as per your admissions form, then we will not release a child without being told by you in advance. So please phone or email the office before 3:05 to let us know if there is another adult collecting your child. This can sometimes be quite tricky, especially when the child does know the adult and wants to be released, but obviously we can't do that until we have your permission. If there's a regular occurrence, you know that one of your child's friends will be collecting your child, maybe on every Wednesday, you may write a letter into school or via email and just let us know, and then we will make sure that is on our records. If you have an older sibling who wants to collect, we do not allow junior school children or children under the age of 15 to come and collect. Please support us. Thank you. Just some parent information. By now your child has already started school and will be wearing a school uniform. Please make sure that everything is named, because as the children take off layers, if it gets too warm, they can mislay their jumpers and cardigans, and we start to get quite an abundance of them in the front foyer and they're not named. So please name them and check them after you've washed them, because the labels can start to fade. Children will need to wear on forest school days and PE days their outfits from home. So if they're going to forest school, they will need long sleeve tops and trousers, please, because there are lots of bugs and insects down in forest school, and there's sometimes nettles as well. If they're doing PE, please make sure that their outfit is flexible for them to be able to move about, and there aren't any pockets or anything that they would be able to catch on any equipment. Right, tapestry. Hopefully by now you would have seen some photographs on the tapestry online journal of your child's day. Check every day, there might be a photograph there, and please can you upload photographs and videos from home? We love to know what the children are doing, especially in COVID-19 times where it's a little bit tricky to talk to parents about children's days. If you have any questions for teachers, please try to contact us through email. If not, try to catch a teacher on the playground. We do appreciate this is quite tricky at the moment. If there is anything urgent you need to let us know, again, a telephone call or email will get through to the class teacher. And that's the end of our presentation. I hope that it has been useful for you. Please refer to it again if you need any help. You can contact us via email or telephone us or catch us on the playground. We believe that the partnership between home and school is so important for really bringing out the best in your child. Thank you for listening.